fluid.
Oh, cool. Yeah, nice. What I might do is I might do a rogue live stream and see how many people I could get on it.
Yeah, because like this is my first time interacting with the Discord. I've watched a couple of your videos recently because I'm doing a master's in 3D art.
Oh, cool.
And I'll be honest, the master's is pretty much, we walked in, they were like, do YouTube tutorials effectively. So
yeah,
you've
you
been
don't
a
have
big
to tell
help.
me that, you know.
Yeah, because this is the first time I ever did character art this semester. I have experience with hard surface and I have a CAD background, so I'm used to using Inventor and Fusion, and I used to be a 3ds Max specialist in quotation marks for Autodesk, because I was the only guy in my office who knew how to use it.
Yeah, it's the same with me.
But I fell in love with the character modeling. So that's how I got onto your videos, because I was learning how to sculpt in ZBrush and how to retopologize. So I'm kind of doing my master's around a character model. That's kind of what I want to do my dissertation on, because ours is kind of just project based. But I've got one question, because for something that I'm looking into. I've been researching UDIMs versus texture sets, and I can't find a huge amount of information. I know they're used in VFX pipelines, right? Because they usually have massive textures for their models. But I couldn't find too much on discussing using it in games. I know Unreal Engine supports it with its virtual textures. So that's what I was reading up on. But basically, is there, like, what are your thoughts on it? Is there a reason we don't use it, or do you think we will start using it with?
I actually did a video on it, but it's on the members platform. So it's describing UDIMs, basically. Funnily enough, it's one of the only ones, like UDIMs, how, what, why. It's more of like it's basically a full explanation of what UDIMs are in games and like how we use them and stuff. And yeah, maybe later on I might do kind of like a workshop on UDIMs. I'm just like testing out the new members platform and stuff. Or might make a public video on it.
I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
don't mind paying for I don't mind paying for the platform. That's fine,
dude. If you want to know it straight away, then I suggest that it's.
Like, I might do that because it's mainly, I'm really trying to put together my research question, and it's very last minute because it's due on Friday. Right. So I'm really trying to figure out exactly what to look at, and I wanted to look at UDIMs versus texture sets from a performance point of view, but I don't know if that's something that's already been well documented. You know, because I don't want to do a master's on something that information's already out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the thing is, UDIMs, texture set, they're all interchangeable and like material slots. So the terminology can get a little bit confusing, but they're very much of the same thing. So from a games background, we've just stolen stuff from CG. So the UDIM workflow is basically the texture set workflow. Is only we use like materials instead of things like passes. So it's slightly different, but it's the same workflow. Like UV1, UV2, you think about it in UV sets. But yeah, like in that video, it's about 30 minutes with all the pauses are taken out. It's like it's slide by slide going over what like UDIMs, texture sets, and materials, lots of stuff. But yeah, any of the feedback sessions, like I go live every Wednesday so far, so we just like answer all those questions and stuff. I'm not trying to oversell like the membership to you, but the answers are there, like without me just like
yes, no, I understand. Again. Yeah, no, that's all good. That's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I just found it funny how that was one of the first topics that I did for that members video, and there'll be obviously more topics coming up.
Cool, thank you.
But yeah, no, thanks for coming on and like testing that out and stuff. And obviously,
yeah. Do you need me to stop sharing my screen now.
Doesn't matter. What I was going to do is I was actually going to turn this on private and see who turns up and stress test it and maybe answer
Cool.
some questions. Over here. Bloody hell, you know these people who play like multiple keyboards? It feels like that.
You need the Minority Report gloves.
No, I need a new brain. It makes sense why people have producers. YouTube's also surprisingly unrefined. Like some things just don't work.
It does not surprise me.
I shield the pain. I shield the pain from everyone. So let's test that. You from Ireland then?
I actually live in Scotland at the moment. But yeah, I'm originally from Ireland.
Cool.
Did you pick that up from the accent? Because most people tend to think I'm American a lot of the time.
That's funny. No. Like half my family's Irish, so I can recognize it.
Ah, nice. What part of Ireland? Do you mind me asking? Well, north or south?
South, so like around Dublin, around like the Ulster area as well. Sort of big family. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. All my family's in Scotland, but I grew up in Ireland, so I moved back to do the masters. Yeah.
What university is that, if you don't mind me asking?
Glasgow, Glasgow Caledonian.
I haven't checked the games courses over there. Do they have undergraduates and?
Yeah, they definitely do have undergraduate degrees in video games and art. The master's program I'm doing, I think it's they don't have like a games department. It's under like the science, computing, and built engineering department.
Yeah, that's really common.
I'll be back in just a second. My headphone's about to die.
No worries. Yeah, the games courses nowadays aren't because they're so new. They've only started to exist recently.
But yeah, the masters I'm doing is a very general one. It's not specific to character art. It's like just a kind of little bit of everything, which is frustrating because we now know very little about everything instead of a lot on one thing.
Yeah, it's like come do what you want as long as you pay us.
Pretty much, yeah.
Are the lecturers good? Are they sort of helping you on the way?
Yeah. To the one, like the main lecturer that we have, he's very knowledgeable, but he's not great at teaching. So he's got a lot of experience, and he clearly knows his stuff, but he's not very good at then teaching it to the students. And then there's another one who's not on our course, but he's the one that I've been chatting a lot with. He teaches the undergraduate character art course. And And so me and him he's been helping me out a lot with trying to refine what we're looking at. And he was the one who suggested looking at VFX pipeline for video game art. So like using Mari and UDIMS. I've never touched Mari. I didn't know it existed until now. So that's kind of why I started looking down this road.
Yeah, fair. So Mari's UDIMS is Mari's a software where you can like use very high resolution. So we use it for skin texturing, mainly like character skin detailing. But it's starting to fade away a little bit because Substance is now taking on that UDIM workflow. So Mari's sort of losing its place in the games industry. And Substance is like stealing all that functionality.
Okay.
So yeah, I used to use it and now I'm using it far less because it's just in games we don't need that higher quality. Or we can just get it from elsewhere, like Substance Painter. Like, because they have now new reprojection tools where you can so like Mari was very good because you could imagine you could use multi-channel, really high density, high resolution textures like 32K plus, which is crazy. Like you wouldn't even have the hard disk space for it sometimes. And then you could use very good tools for manipulation, like very similar to Photoshop, where you could like translate it. So that's where Mari was really good, and you could project it onto a 3D model. So it's almost like the ZBrush of the 3D world. You know how ZBrush you could use millions and millions of polygons. Mari was like that for textures, but now for games, it's like you're not going above that. So while they sell that, like on Texturing XYZ and stuff, in actual games, no one's using that level of detail because you just can't see it at all. So yeah, I think Mari's slipping away a little bit there.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. Because I think that's where he. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was just going to say there might be a delay, but Substance used to not be able to paint across multiple texture sets / UDIMs. So, and it's still a bit dodgy. So if you have like a Godzilla character which requires loads of UV space, like loads of UDIMs, it's going to be a little bit harder on Substance Painter with the multiple texture sets.
Okay, yeah.
So part of the most confusing bit, which I go over in the video, is that the terminology is like one of the most confusing parts. Because no one's decided on the terminology because they all call it different things.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Is there like anything that you think is a good avenue for looking at then for a master's? Granted, this research bit it's only worth 30%, really, because 70% is going towards your practical project. In this case, the character model I'm going to do. So it doesn't need to be something massive. But because the biggest problem I have right now while trying to research things is I don't know what I don't know. You know, I'm so new to this industry that, you know, I don't have enough experience to know what questions need answering.
Mm-hmm. It's a difficult one because when you're at university, it's like the whole point of a traditional red brick university is that it's like a research. It's a place for like pioneering research. So under classics like sciences, you would test something. You'd have like people with your PhD. Games and technology isn't like that. It's not housed inside of the universities. So what the problem is that the universities try and like put this on you that you should be researching the forefronts of whatever. So for mine, it was convenient because when I graduated, I came out from the turn of the PBR, like physically based rendering, so I could put research into PBR. But nowadays, it's just like if you want to get into the industry, like as a character artist or whatever, it's less about your thesis or anything, or it's less about your mark. It's actually about your portfolio. So it's like how good of a character artist you are. So yeah, the university has sort of lost its way a little bit in terms of what the end goal is for the students. So, but to answer your question, like if you want to push the forefronts of like your thesis or whatever, it'd probably be like pushing the boundaries of multiple texture sets and UDIMs in Unreal Engine. I think that could be quite cool. Or how textures are managed. Because with the I don't know if you've heard of things like Nanite and stuff.
I have.
That might be an interesting route to go down, because then that requires a lot of processing. And it might be the case we don't even need UDIMs. So it could all be housed on like the vertex, the vertices.
Like PTEX kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Because I was thinking my original plan was to basically do my character model and do traditional like multiple UV maps and materials, and then one with UDIMs in Unreal, and then just compare like say like draw calls and performance for each one. So I was kind of already. Sorry, go on.
I was just like, I guess it's what you're trying to make. So is it like a high quality? Are you testing the technicals, or is it to see the outcome of like a high fidelity character? Because in games in real time, it's a little bit different because we have to like use little tricks. So, for example, like depending on how close the camera is to the screen, the character, we can introduce different textures. So it's not all about like UDIM resolution. We can also just introduce new textures as we get closer, and then we don't have to use like as many texture sets.
Yeah. Because like you said, the main thing obviously the main part of this masters is the portfolio piece, which will be the character. I'm just kind of, I think they want us to like get a cool technique or piece of technology that's at the forefront and apply that somewhere in the project. So that's why I was kind of looking at like, maybe we do something with texturing or UDIMs.
Yeah, you'll have like a rubric, won't you? And a section of that rubric will be the thing is because I've been at universities for like 7 years. I've worked at universities, so I kind of know the back end of like what the whole thing is. So that section is very much like it has to be there, otherwise it's not a university course, which is weird.
Yeah.
So but it depends how they've weighted it. So sometimes depends who the lecturers are. Like sometimes they low key weight it slightly differently. For example, when I did mine, I did the games course just only really came in. So what you had was like you'd create a character, but unfortunately the dissertation was still attached to it. So you had to make a full ass character and also like a 12,000 word dissertation, but that's only because the system wasn't catching up with itself. So anyway, like this became a problem because when I was doing my character, it was actually pretty good. It was scoring in the 80s to 90s, but my thesis was like an A-level essay. So basically they had to fudge it slightly. So I don't know if it's a difficult one to like get an accurate mark when there's especially as the research is being done by the industry. It's not being done by universities, and it's especially not being done by like undergraduates. So I'd focus on making it interesting for you. Like I wouldn't worry too much about the master's degree. Like what could you get out of it that would be very interesting and would produce something that's interesting for like an art director or someone who's employing. That's how I'd look at it. And then the secondary thing would be how can you sort of manipulate your thesis to attach to that. So yeah, think about just making something cool, and then how can you sort of like write about it. That's
Yeah,
sort of my
that's
advice on how you-
kind of
yeah.
what I was trying to go for, because I've got this character that I want to do. I'm not actually going to design the character. I'm doing a Skaven Vermin Lord is a character that I wanted to do, just to do the really focusing on the technical stuff like the modeling and the texturing. But yeah, it was just that kind of what's a cool technique that's involved in this model that I can write about. So I don't know if there's anything, because it's going to have a lot of skin and fur. So there might be cool things there as well.
Fur's challenging in itself. So you'd be using a lot of different things like, it could be using XGen or other third party ones. For third years and like masters, I usually get them working on fur and hair and like eye shaders, like really useful things for characters.
Okay. Cool. Well,
'Cause
I think I've asked enough
it's pretty deep in itself.
questions. Yeah.
You can answer away until I'm around.
I just figured there might be other people in here who
Yeah,
might
fair
want to
enough.
ask something.
Hello, everyone. You have my full attention for a while. Testing out some workshop Discord stuff. So the only thing is that my webcam doesn't seem to stream.
Well, I can see your webcam.
Oh, really?
Yes. yeah, I can see your webcam. It's there.
That's interesting. I guess it's I have a second laptop to the side that can't do it. It's probably because I'm using up all my internet. All right, guys, who we got in the Discord? Nice to see everyone. I recognize a couple of faces or emblems. Let me test something out. Actually, Peter, I remember your name. You're doing a witch. Yeah, so on the Discord, I think you have the functionality to basically like click each individual and then expand it. So mine's top left. Wow, this jumped. What are you rendering it in? Is this Unreal Engine or Marmoset?
Hi. Do you
Hello.
hear me?
I hear you.
That's actually my first time speaking with someone in English.
Oh, cool.
And
Wow, very good.
that's actually a marmoset.
Okay, cool.
I can even show you. Let me open.
Yeah, we can test it out. Like if you've got the project there, I guess we can look around it, see what happens. Just tell me when you've successfully share screened it. Hello, the capitalist. Found your chair. Very excited to start picking up some new techniques. Cool. What sort of techniques? Also, come into the Discord if you want to talk live, or we can just let you stay on the chat.
Okay, so my internet is really bad. Let me try to switch it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how you've done the hair, because it could be that you've exported that straight from like tubes or a fiber mesh.
I actually did it in Blender with curves.
Okay, so what are they? Haircuts, or is it like physical geometry?
It's physical geometry.
Oh.
And it handles it really good. I mean, you can export it in ZBrush and do it vertex paint and export into Marmoset.
Yeah, so it depends what you're going for. So if you're basically going for the final image, that's totally fine, just to export loads of geometry. But if it's for like a games engine or pure real time, like without chucking a lot of GPU power at it, you'd want to turn that into hair cards. So it would be like a texture on top of geometry with a form of opacity. And then it just costs less in terms of like the GPU usage. And Marmoset's all about that functionality. So like if you look at a lot of Marmoset viewers or renderers, it's like a majority of them be using hair cards. So it's a journey in itself, like learning how to do that, but it's well worth it, because that wouldn't be able to go into a game, for example, but it will be able to go into Marmoset because it can just about handle it.
Yes, I am planning doing it with higher cards. But
Oh,
for
cool.
the fastest way and first pass, I did it with geometry.
Sweet. Feels good to catch a stream. Yeah, it's like a wild Pokemon, right? You just so happen to be on YouTube or something. Yeah. Come onto the Discord. There's like, we got the Hangout Helm here. Don't know if it's coming across. I'm sort of like being a producer and streaming at the same time. But yeah, under the Hangout Helm, and then you'll be able to you don't have to watch the stream basically, and then you can actually just experience it directly out of Discord. So you can like change the viewer and stuff like that, like so you see here. You can also share your own screen if there's like any questions that you've got and stuff. Having to overclock my mind to control all these chats and streams.
No,
You
I
see
can't
chat.
share my screen.
Oh, of course.
But
And also
I-
Discord has its own chat, doesn't it? So that's a bit. For those you're on overclocking, the problem is I used all my brain cells today. This is just like the final two that I could do. How's it coming across on the YouTube stream? Is there Can you hear other people in the Discord and stuff? Tell me if you've ever seen someone do it like we've done it here. This might be a case study. Yeah, I know, right? So, guys, my aim for today was basically to break this stream, this entire system. So, I don't know if you saw, but there's I released the members video on like how to light inside of Unreal Engine. I will be releasing, and for those who are on like the email list, I also released it like basically like a little breakdown of some tips on how to use this, basically, like turning off the exposure so it doesn't like blow out your characters and stuff. Oh, here we go. So if you're interested in setting that up, tomorrow we're going to be doing a workshop for the Mutiny members. We're basically all going to jump into Unreal Engine like we are for this Discord, and light a couple of characters. So it's either your own characters that you bring in. So we'll show you how to like import them and stuff. But there's also some preset ones that we're using, like AAA examples. And when it comes to lighting in Unreal, it's actually easier than you first think. It's just there's a couple of tips and tricks that are going to help you along your way. So, for example, when you're in Unreal Engine, not many people know this, but depending on the camera or light that you select, you can Control Shift P. That's basically going to like possess the light itself. And as you see, like I can move around and aim it like it was a first-person shooter. And that dictates the angle of the light. So, for example, if I Control Shift P this rim light, you'll see on the right side that it's actually affecting the viewport on the side. So it's really cool. You can use WASD and QER just to like scroll up and down, and then keep your eyes on the right side of the screen. You can basically like curate an image, which is quite nice. So, for example, like if we can hide and show a couple of these. So to build it up, usually what I do is I basically isolate one light like this, and then I'll move around and position it just to see what its contribution is. So you see on this side, it's giving it like a very nice right side of the character rim light. So you can change the rotations around and then change the intensity like up and down. And then you come back and just show the others one. So that's like a secondary support rim light to separate from the background. That's just lighting up the back plate. So with the back plate, if you look at this, it's just a very simple like curvature to receive a couple of gradients. These are all saved on Vodsrite. Not this one. I might as well leave it up. But this is just like a test one. Yeah. So interestingly with this, right? So because it's ray tracing and global illumination, the light that hits off the bottom of this actually does contribute to the lighting of the character. So, for example, like if I move this away, you can see how the character is actually getting darker. So that's pretty advanced technology. Like that used to not really exist. So what also is a factor is the color of that material. So if you were to make that black, obviously it would absorb a lot more light energy, and it wouldn't reflect it back onto the character. So it's actually important what your environment looks like when you're lighting. So say, for example, if we were working in here and there was a big massive wall in front of the, or even over here you had like an emissive cube, that would actually contribute light to this entire system. So it's something to be aware of. People usually miss that, basically. So guys, on the Discord, do you have any questions about Unreal Lighting while I have it open? I'm going to go in about 10 minutes. Frankenstream. That's the one. I like that.
I wouldn't say I have a question, but well, I guess it's a question. Would you say you switched over to Unreal now? Not switched over, but use it more often in under render softwares?
Yeah, it's so. Oh, look, I've done a little tear here. That's cool. So the way all technology is heading is that it's basically like heading to real time, because the
Right.
real time technology is getting so powerful with the advent of NVIDIA. So if you want to get ahead of the curve, I always suggest, like, a majority of students is just pick up Unreal. It's totally worth it. So for example, if I'm rendering in Marmoset, that's got like a particular view to it. But if I'm going that far and creating a character, texturing it, doing retopology, might as well take it all the way into Unreal Engine. And in an
Right.
Unreal Engine, you've just got so much more functionality. So, for example, like with this scene that we've set up, you can save this scene out, and then obviously you can do that in Marmoset, but like this can be very specific to certain things. So, like if we've got some hair or subsurface, we might have a very particular level that is conducive of subsurface. So it might have
Mhm,
some nice
mhm.
backlights, or it might have some different settings. We might have changed the level settings or like the global illumination, that sort of stuff. You can then copy and paste these into different levels quite easily, or within the content browser, instead of browsing like Marmoset files and stuff, which can be quite frustrating. So yeah, it's just like an Unreal. There's so much financial power behind it
Mhm.
that the updates are just so good. So there's this metaphor of what, in terms of like things that move fast, what do you want to connect your rope to? And you want to connect your rope to things that move fast. Things that move slow are things like um things with not big teams and budgets. So
Mhm, mhm.
unfortunately, like things like Blender and like third party softwares, they just fall off really quickly. So you want to be in something that's proprietary, like Substance, Unreal Engine, and you'll save a lot of time in your future, basically.
Mm. Okay. Thank you. That was a good
That's my
answer. That's a good
that's my
one.
suggestion.
Got it. I was just choosing whether or not I should just invest into Marmo or just go full Unreal and explore that.
Marmoset's really nice to, if you just want to make something really quick and light it fast.
Mhm.
But the setup for Unreal, like getting this, what we've done here, literally only takes 20 minutes. So like there's
Right.
a video that I've done, you can follow along that, and it's 20 minutes. You'll be set up and ready to go. It's not as fast in terms of iteration. So for example, like if you wanted to change the lighting scenario, you would actually have to come in here and set it up like it was a physical studio. Whereas in
Mhm.
Marmoset, there's a bit more free form, and like you've got the HDRs. It's very user friendly, but then it has its limitations. So like once you start to get advanced portfolio stuff, like if you want to, this is a good example actually. So self emission and global illumination isn't that great in Marmoset, whereas Unreal Engine have invested teams, hundreds and hundreds of people to like build out this technology. So it's as good as like movies, looking at that. So just if there's any unique feature, say you've got like a potion or a glass which has like liquid in it, or and it's reflecting, and then it's also got like a fish in it that has like a light that's emitting a light. That's not happening in Marmoset. You know what I mean? So you might as well have that in Unreal Engine. Yeah.
Great point. Yeah.
It's just that it's like if you're playing League of Legends or any sort of game, there's like certain top caps and low caps. So you've got like your Garens, which is professional players don't use it, but it's a nice entry. And then your higher tier that lower people don't use because it takes so much time to build up, but wins more games. It's kind of like that analogy, I think.
Aside from rendering, are there any other Unreal quirks you're going to be exploring or talking about in the membership? I guess things to use it for.
Well, whatever anyone asks,
Anyone asks, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know a fair bit about it, to be honest. So like landscapes, foliage, hair, eye rendering. There's a lot of topics, just based on what people want, to be honest. I usually ask in the Discord and then cover it because there's just too much, right?
Yeah, you can't just like say, "Yo, tell me everything about it."
Yeah.
Say that.
Unreal wise, I think importance is like skin rendering is important, and also hair rendering, presentation and lighting. Obviously, one of the key aspects that is completely overlooked in everything is just like retopology. So that's what I first started on was basically like how to make nice retopology, like to a level that you'd get a role in the industry. Or I'm going to be doing more of that soon.
Yeah, I love those 3 handouts that you had. They're really, really useful.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my pleasure. That's what they're for. Yeah,
they're great.
Glad you enjoyed them.
I was always looking for like I guess a quick resource, or not quick, but something accessible and wouldn't take me like 3 hours to watch through, so I can get one piece of information. So it was really nice to use when needed.
Awesome. Yeah, it's nice to have a glue that sort of pieces everything together, or like a resource or some kind of like community or mentor.
Yeah,
definitely agree.
There's a lot of videos on how you can retopologize in different softwares, but not really on what's optimal and what should be done.
I see the couple, and they I would not advise. I would not employ. I would not employ 80% of them.
Okay, yeah, because it changes a lot, so it really depends. It's so subjective at times, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly. And there's another question of how good do you actually need to make it. Everyone's different, so in indie games, it doesn't matter that much for the grand scheme of things. But if you're doing AAA and if you're doing modular characters, it's definitely important at that level. Like if we look at the topology of this character, it will be. Although that being said, I've seen some pretty funny Unreal Engine topologies in my time, surprisingly, especially in the like the main Unreal Tournament games and Gears of War. Oh my god!
Oh, is it horrid?
It's usable.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't going to be usable, then you'd probably not know it was there.
So yeah, this is good. This is good topology, and you'll obviously see there's loads of topology on the face.
This is your character, or
no? This is Unreal Paragon, so you can get this from the marketplace.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's free resource provided by La Epic.
La Epic.
Can I ask a question? What is look dev? Why is it important, and how do we do it? So it depends on what the subject matter is. So if it's look dev for environment or characters, but the general consensus, everyone's going to be different, right? But like the way that we've used look dev can involve It depends if you've got a concept artist. Depends if you've got like designers that are requiring certain things. But look dev's just all about iteration and theorizing the view of a character. So like you could test out a couple of shapes, colors. But yeah, as I said, there's no rules to it, right? So you could be drawing on a napkin, that could be bloody look dev, or you could be going into Photoshop with 3 concept artists and they could all be drawing stuff. It's the same thing as look dev. So it's just anything that's props for games, anything that's useful to you. You're trying to prove out something on paper. Basically, it's probably a smart way of saying concepting. Look dev. Usually artists say look dev because they don't want to be judged. I think look dev means don't give me criticism. Interesting question though.
Oh, some people are asking questions in the Discord chat, I think.
Yes, I figured, and I'm trying to show chat. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, there's loads of questions. So I'm doing texture 3D character art in Substance Painter right now, and I separately separate the head and the body in ZBrush because my PC is not capable of the sculpt sorts of details. Yeah, that's common. So I have 2 texture set lists. Is this a common thing? By the way, a little difference color with the skin, but it's just a little. So I think that you've got 2 sort of like separate high polys from what I've understand in ZBrush, and you've taken it into Substance and you've got 2 texture sets and you're having trouble sort of like bridging the seamless gap in between that. The texture sets in UDIMS was like a similar question asked earlier. Funnily enough, I have done like a full members video on like what a UDIM is, and in that video I did actually open up one of the characters and showed like how the head transitions into the body with textures and what and how to do that. So if you really want to know, I'd suggest looking at that because I wouldn't be able to describe it so quickly. But as a general rule of thumb, as you'll hear, so it's like you don't want too much texture detail or information around that seam area, because then that's going to cause some problems, right? Some visual problems. And there's also texture resolution issues and also UV issues that you kind of want to be aware of when you're blending over. So it takes a bit of practice to get that transition really nice, but it's definitely possible. So curiosity about before switching to the 42-inch monitor, I'm doing some research into monitors specifically for 3D to upgrade to this. Oh, you want to upgrade to a 42-inch? Yeah, go for it.
No. Sorry, I asked that earlier a while ago, but not that I'm looking to upgrade for a 42. Rather, what were you using before that? Because a bit embarrassingly, I've been working on a 2015 HP laptop for the past year, and I'm really looking to invest into a PC now because I can, and I kind of want to min-max the monitor.
Min-max the monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
good color accuracy, but also I don't want to like. I guess like nothing crazy. Like a 42-inch is probably a bit much for the first monitor. But yeah, if you have any kind of like advice when it comes to building, I guess a PC for 3D in general.
Right. So just all your money, or not all the money, the majority of the min max, I guess, would go into the monitor and the graphics card.
Mhm, mhm.
So you could probably get a secondhand ISP monitor, so it's like nicely color accurate. I like the
Right.
Dell like ultra sharps. That's the ones I used to have.
I'll write those down.
And you don't get too serious about it because it can get quite serious though. So if you have multiple monitors, even the manufacturer's production, they're slightly different in their color accuracy. So if you
Mhm.
have multiple monitors, you actually talk to the manufacturer and buy them all at once. So if you buy them
Oh.
secondhand and stuff, they're all different colors. But that's like, don't get into that. It's not worth it. That's
Right.
that's optimizing that. But yeah, you can pick up a nice ISP
Yeah,
color
just
accurate.
one is enough for the beginning, I guess. Later, we'll just see if I've heard something that like a colorizer exists, so you can calibrate your colors later on if you want to, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
get
I-
a
that seems
spider.
pretty complicated.
Yeah, I used a spider, and it was okay. It was quite an old one. It's not new. I don't know what the newer ones were, but I got it off my lecture, and I tried color calibrating my main monitor. But there's actually a website, Rtings, like RTINGS, that does screens monitor reviews, and they go into a lot of technical depth
Oh,
on it. So they have recommendations for color accuracy and things, but they also give profiles, calibrated color profiles as well. And after spending probably about 5-6 hours messing with this spider trying to calibrate my monitor, ended up just going and getting their profile, and it worked better.
Yeah, my man, he knows.
I'm
He
sure.
knows. Yeah, so I've done the same. I did the same thing as you, right? So that's good advice.
Could you repeat the name of the website?
Yeah, I'll type into the chat there
Thank
for
you,
you. I
thank you.
believe this is Rtings, like ratings, but without the A.
Ah, Earthings. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, any sort of questions? Topo Gun's good. Yeah. Yeah, Topo Gun's an interesting one because obviously Maya's quite expensive.
Uh-huh.
It's difficult. It's difficult. So, like if you're using TopoGun, if you're using Blender and you're good at retopology, there's no reason why you can't just get a job in industry with someone who is using Maya. The onboarding wouldn't be that long for that. Like I would definitely if I saw a TopoGun portfolio, I wouldn't have any problems sort of like introducing them into the team. That's totally cool.
Have you seen the plugin for Blender called Retopoflow for retopology?
Not I usually no, I don't really follow the plugins, the third party
Okay.
ones.
Because I
Is it
use
good?
that for
What's good?
yeah, it's a paid plugin, but it's free for they have it up on their GitHub for education, like students.
Mm.
And I used it for doing my character models retopology because I was trying to learn Maya, and I was kind of bashing my head against the wall for a bit, and I was running out of time, so I was like, I know Blender a lot better. So I just kind of did it in that. But I thought the tools were really good. I found it really easy, really quite quick for someone who had never done retopology before. I picked it up pretty quickly using that. But I was curious if you'd seen it or not.
No, I hadn't. Yeah, post it in the resources. It might be interesting for people.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
The only thing that I have to like be aware of is that the amount of third party software I've used in my career. So it's like because they're unsupported as time goes on. So sometimes
Yeah.
it's quite dangerous to like, especially in a team, to support that. So like that's why a lot of companies stick to Maya, Substance, like that sort of realm. As soon as
Yeah.
someone brings in a third party software, everyone's like a bit trepidatious about it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to mess up the workflow of it. But could be. I hope Blender kicks into gear on the retopology front. To be honest, but that sounds like it's good.
Do you usually use Maya and TopoGun?
Yeah, primarily Maya.
Mm-mm-mm.
I tried Toboggan a couple of times, didn't resonate.
It's probably a bit of a weird question, not really related to any software, but what is your posting schedule? If
No
you
one
have one,
knows.
if you have one,
I don't.
you don't.
Unfortunately, I
Okay,
don't.
I guess
The
we'll have to be surprised pleasantly all the time.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to get in more of a habit of either a monthly public, but when you're wearing so many hats, it's
Yeah, absolutely.
very impossible to come up with like a schedule. You know, if one little thing goes wrong, then all my attention is put onto that, and the other things don't function. So, and we're things grew quite quickly. So, but yeah. So in terms of the membership, I try to do every Wednesday, and recently we're doing like some kind of demo that's been suggested but on the polls, and then I would go make a video for that. We then implement that in a workshop like the ones that's happening tomorrow. And those are all on Wednesdays. And then the next following week would be more like a practice base, and then the finale of that 4 would be a feedback where we look at like what's been done, or if anyone needs feedback for their works in progress. Unfortunately, I've had to like stop the works in progress feedbacks and the showcases and stuff like that. Just I don't have the capacity for it, so I'm going to focus on more on tutorial content, public free tutorial content that's like a quite a big video. So that
I mean, the quality of the content you put out is absolutely worth waiting for, so don't feel bad about it, that's for sure.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Especially
Thank
the
you very
free
much.
stuff. Like it's so worth it.
Yeah, no, good to hear. Yeah, no, that's what I've noticed is that the bigger videos are worth their time that I put into it. Because when I first started, it was you sort of try to work it out, and it's because it takes a good couple of hours to put them into that. But yeah, no, there's some cool topics I've got already lined up coming up. So on the subject of UDIMs, how can we improve our UVs to get the most out of each UV tile? Any packing tips and tricks? So I guess it's quite a broad subject for the time, but I guess the tips to improve that I can give you, don't be afraid for slight distortion. So when you're looking at your UVs and it wobbles slightly and it distorts, if it looks okay on and it packs okay, then usually it's okay. That's the realm that you go in with games. So don't stick to what you've been given with the UV shell. So if it has a weird spiky bit that makes everything really small, I'd cut that off and then have the seam, or then just like try and deform it in a way where it fits nicely. So yeah, and also whenever you're doing hard surface, make sure that the edges are lined up. And then obviously UV is going to be aligned to baking. So there's that without introducing too many more subject topics, is like the UV facilitates the bake. So that's also important. So don't get too obsessed with like how efficient the UV packing and tiling is. You can have like a little bit of wasted space. That's totally cool. Right, guys, I'm going to finish it there and get some food. That was fun. It turned into a test with my mate, and then everyone joined, and we sort of answered loads of questions and stuff. So that's quite fun.
Thank you very much. It was great. Thank you.
Just need to know how to close down the stream. So I'm over here.
You got this.
I don't got this.
We're getting a mukbang, I guess.
Cool, guys. Oh, also, yeah, obviously tomorrow's the live workshop. So come on, if you're interested in getting to the members, it's like there's a lot of value in there already, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner you're joining, the more sort of like contact time you can get with us. So yeah, if you're coming along, catch tomorrow. If not, you can watch them later if you don't want to, and do it all later.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
evening, guys.
Have a great one. Good
All right,
evening.
thank you.
Bye-bye. Bon appétit.